And welcome back to American Agenda. I'm Heather Childers. Bob Sellers is off today. Before the break, our White House correspondent Emerald Robinson sat down with Senator Rand Paul in an exclusive interview talking about his feud with Dr. Anthony Fauci and mandatory mask and vaccine mandates. Let's get our panel back because they're still with us, and they're going to talk a little bit more about their thoughts on all of this. Amy, what struck you in that interview with Dr. Fauci? I'm sorry, with Senator Rand Paul.
Sure. I knew who you meant. And I think that Newsmax should just play that on a loop, honestly, because the entire thing was exactly that. It was honest. And I think that's what this administration is messing up with. We are now finding, it took the CDC a year just to tell us that the majority of those who were passing from COVID were obese. It's taken, now Dr. Fauci's emails to be released to find out that maybe masks weren't the answer and they weren't working like we were originally told. It's taken this administration so many different directions to where our heads are spinning and we don't know what to believe anymore on either side, which is unfortunate. And I think by Senator Paul breaking things down for us on the possibilities, the what ifs, and where we're at now today and how we got here is so important, because then that allows us to make really good personal choices for ourselves and for our families.
Yeah, we're waiting for President Biden to deliver some remarks at the top of the hour at 4 p.m. Eastern, where he's expected to talk more about these, mask mandates and vaccines and getting more people vaccinated. But I'm wondering, Stacey, if he's going to say something similar, and if we can skip to this, where President Biden insulted those who have not gotten the vaccine. Listen to this.
Beg your pardon?
Will you require all federal employees to get vaccinated?
That's under consideration right now, but if you're not vaccinated, you're not nearly as smart as I thought you were.
Not nearly as smart as I thought you were, Stacey.
Or maybe we're not as healthy as he thought we were. He certainly doesn't have the cognitive ability that we thought he had. So, I mean, we can all trade insults, but adults sound like Senator Rand Paul did when he was speaking with our esteemed colleague, Emerald Robinson. That woman does a fantastic interview. So I'm interested in hearing more of what the kind of information that was shared by Dr. Rand Paul and less of the insults that are shared by President Biden. And I want to make a point. Since when has our employer ever had the right to tell us you have to go get a shot or get some kind of medical procedure without then also saying they will cover any of the unintended side effects or consequences of that medical procedure? So if your employer is saying you have to get the shot or you can't work here, you should write them back and require them to answer you an email if they're going to cover your family's living expenses for the natural term of your life or your life expectancy should you have Guillain-Barré or any of these other side effects that have been seen with the COVID-19 vaccine. So I'm not against people getting it. I think it's actually smart to do if that's what you and your medical provider have decided is the best course of action for you personally. But if you also don't feel comfortable taking a vaccine that is authorized under experimental use, then that's also a smart decision for you as well. And this is America, and we can make those choices. Now, I want to point out, as a Black American, I'm old enough to remember the anthrax vaccine and people on active duty in the military being physically maimed and harmed by it. They were forced to take it as a condition of remaining in the military. And after they got the vaccine and were harmed, they were discharged by our U.S. Armed Forces, and then they were given the runaround about being treated by the Veterans Administration. And I'm old enough to have read books about the Tuskegee experiment, which was something that was done to Black men exclusively. I have a Black husband, my father is Black, my son is Black. I would rather make my own choices about what I'm going to inject into my own body. And any Democrat who thinks I'm not smart enough because I'm making that decision obviously hasn't read history.
Yeah. Ted, we expect President Biden's order to at least apply to 2.2 million civil servants. It's unclear, though, that if it will specifically deal with federal contractors, the military, or the post office. I was listening to what Stacey was saying there, and you know, we're starting to hear from specifically Pfizer. Let's just talk about their vaccine. They're now putting forward some information saying that their vaccine, the 2 doses, after 6 months, it starts to lose its efficacy down to 84%. After 18 months, that efficacy goes down to about 50%. So now I think next month in August, they're pushing for emergency approval for their booster shot that they're now going to try to say everyone has to take.
And who pays for that?
Yeah.
Most likely it's going to be the federal government that's going to be paying for that. But to your point about we're not sure if it's going, the mandate is going to apply to contractors and everything. A friend of mine is a contractor for the State Department, and he got an email just yesterday from the State Department that says that every single employee, visitor, and contractor will have to wear a mask when they come into a federal building. So we know for a fact that it's going to be that way mandated for masks. It'll be interesting to see what the president says eventually on vaccines. I think the reason why they're not is what we were saying earlier, is that this is still under a test definition, and so they're not going to be able to mandate a vaccine that is still being tested. But once it is fully through that process, I believe that is the intent of the government to mandate vaccines.
Yeah, I think a legal can of worms, so to speak, is being opened before us. Thank you, everyone.